Welcome to the Beantown Beatdown. That's right, y'all. Matthew Burris here.
Gabe Shamus, also coming at you from Beantown.
Clean and sober for 4 weeks now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yep, so got the orange juice right here.
All right. And we're going to kick it off with some headlines.
Yep, let's kick it off with some headlines.
Cheers.
First and foremost, UFC 200 went down over the weekend. Saw it over at my brother's house. Good night of fights.
Yeah.
Cain Velasquez knocked out Travis Brown, Ronda Rousey's boyfriend.
All right.
I'm sure
that's going to be a topic of conversation at their house.
I'm sure she's probably gonna give him some pity pussy. Also, Jose Aldo defeated Conor McGregor. Frankie Edgar. Sorry, in the rematch with Frankie Edgar. Okay. But he's getting a rematch with Conor McGregor sometime down the line.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, this fight will come into fruition at Madison Square Garden. Also, Daniel Cormier defeated Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva stepped in 2 days after it was found out that John Jones supposedly tested positive for banned substances.
Right.
But John Jones is appealing the case.
Yeah.
And if he loses, he's automatically banned from the sport for 2 years.
Interesting.
Yep. And also, Brock Lesnar came back and defeated Mark Hunt by unanimous decision, ground and pounded him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said at the press conference, he said, "Hey, maybe I'll be back. Maybe I'll still be in WWE. Who knows?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, we have a new women's bantamweight champion, Amanda Nunes. She beat the shit out of Miesha Tate. She broke her nose, boxing punches. Then when it got to the ground in the first round, she put her in a rear naked choke and choked her out.
Oh, man.
Yes. And of course, that makes Amanda Nunes also the first ever openly gay UFC fighter to become a world champion.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
Clap for that one as well.
Yep. And, this opens the door for Holly Holmes to get another shot at the belt, or Julia Pena, who won on the preliminary cards. She beat Kat Zingano, so who knows what's going to happen there. Also, another quick thing on UFC 200, a lot of celebrities there, too. Dwight Howard was there, DeMarco Murray, Justin Timberlake, and of course, number 12, Tom Brady. Brady was sitting next to Justin Timberlake.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been something. Yeah.
Free Tom Brady.
Right. My guess is, I don't know. My guess is that Timberlake doesn't actually keep up with the sport. So, what do you think they have to talk about?
I don't know. I guess their wives and I heard that Justin Timberlake has met with Dana White, so yeah, so I'm sure he's probably a fan.
Yeah.
So it was a good night of fights, and it was enjoyable. Got to watch it at my brother's house. Hey Wayne, what's up? What's up, Wayne? And also some other news over the weekend. Gennady Golovkin will put the undisputed middleweight title on the line against Kell Brook September 10th, the same day as UFC 203.
Interesting.
Yep. Of course, that fight's going to be for free on World Championship Boxing. Of course, if you live over in England, that will be on Skynet pay-per-view. And that fight will be taking place live at the O2 Arena in London, England. And should be a good matchup. Granted, I wish Golovkin was fighting Alvarez. But we'll have to settle for this. But I know Gennady Golovkin will knock him out in maybe 3 or 4 rounds. Kell Brook is a good fighter, a great British fighter, another great British fighter. He's the IBF welterweight champion, but against Golovkin, too much in size, too much in weight. Golovkin's gonna run right over him.
Mm.
And last but not least, of course, the biggest news. We're getting back to the UFC now. The UFC has been sold for $4 billion.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's got to be some pretty huge news, huh?
Oh, yeah, it is. And I have the name right here on who they sold it to. They sold it to WME IMG, William Morrison Enterprise or whatever. Yeah, William Morris and Endeavor.
Okay.
And they also represent Ronda Rousey, too. So
that's fascinating. Yeah.
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 But, of course, the Fertitta brothers, they're staying on as minority owners.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll still have a stake in the company and stuff.
Okay.
Dana White is still staying on as president.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
And, I mean, of course, Joe Rogan has said in the past that he'll probably leave if it's been sold. I mean, his contract is up in August. I don't know. Maybe the Fertitta brothers are still going to be there even though they're just minority owners, and Dana is still staying on as president. I mean, maybe Joe will stay. I mean, hopefully, I hope he stays.
Right.
Normally, this is the part where Abby Lee Miller goes, well, everybody's replaceable, but you can't replace Joe Rogan. By the way, also, I've been meaning to bring this up, but Abby Lee Miller is going to be serving 2.5 years in prison for the bankruptcy fraud.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. She about to be somebody's bitch.
All right.
So now we're going to get into Macho Doesn't Mean This. Gabe, take it away.
All right. So I'm going to be talking about a cultural phenomenon that, from my perspective, has come up almost overnight. Like, it feels like this is something that has just come up in the last, month or two. I'm sure for diehard fans, it's been a lot longer. But for those of you that haven't heard yet, there's this thing called Pokemon Go. Have you heard of it, Matt?
Heard a little bit about it. I know the Westboro Church, the ones that hate gays, did something about it. Did something with it. But,
really? Well, I didn't know about that. But anyway,
yeah.
It's this new interactive. Well, I don't know if you'd call it interactive. It's this new game that overlays characters on top of the actual real world. So you're, this is something that's been I've seen other like newscasts and stuff try and explain this, and it's something that's always hard to explain to people that aren't like in it, but a lot more people are becoming in it nowadays, especially if you look at Facebook. It's just all over the place, for better or for worse. So anyway, basically, your camera can take a wide shot or a continuous shot, no matter where you're pointing it, at the actual real world. But then whenever it's this interactive sort of model, like interactive role playing games.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, where this everyone, where there's a map of the whole thing that everyone gets to use the same map, except in this case the map is the actual real world. There's the real world, and but then by random algorithms they put different Pokemon characters in different places, and so you have to go out, and with your phone and explore, and you're looking for Pokemon that might be out and about somewhere, and so like it's like back in the old days, I was never interested, but there was the card games, there was the Nintendo games.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was into Pokemon.
Were you? Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, around middle school, and of course my favorites were Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander. Hitmonchan, he was the one with the boxing gloves.
Of course you liked Hitmonchan.
And of course Hitmonlee, because he had the karate kicks and stuff. So.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize how much of martial arts were actually involved. But yes. Anyway, so all those same characters, you can now find them out and about in the real world and go searching for them. So just like the old saying was you got to catch them all. Now it's actually literally true. You literally are out there in the world trying to catch them all.
I got to buy him. Pokemon. I need to buy a ticket. Buy.
Exactly. And I loved that episode of South Park back in the day because I was so pissed with all the Pokemon talk, and I was like, that's exactly what the commercials are actually saying. They're actually saying, gotta buy it now. So yeah. Anyway, so I was actually celebrating that Pokemon was kind of dead in the water, but no, now it's become a whole new cultural phenomenon, and I think from what I've seen, I think a lot of people that were not as interested in the card game or the handheld Nintendo games were
the cartoon.
Well,
the cartoon is still going around. I think it's like on one of the Disney channels and stuff like that. But
okay, but you have to admit,
generation.
Yeah, exactly. You have to admit, up until this point, it was not really. I don't think it was really known about or talked about. But anyway, I think now this is bringing a whole different group of people in. And yeah, so I think a lot of people that were not interested in the cartoon or the handheld games before are now interested in this because it's a very different type of experience. You can walk around. You can be like, is there a Pikachu here? Is there a tell me another name again. I'm so bad with their name.
Chansey.
Is there a Chansey over there? Is there a Charmander, right?
Yeah, Charmander.
Is there a Charmander, down the block? Well, let's go look. That type of thing. So, this is the first Macho Doesn't Mean This segment I've done where I'm actually completely split on the subject. I'm not completely in favor. I'm not completely against. I do feel like there's actually, now that there's been all this attention about it on Facebook, there's this one meme that I keep seeing from a lot of my friends where it's like Homer Simpson in the bar. The Simpsons had a lot to do with this as well, but Homer Simpson's in the bar and it's packed full, and like everyone else has a Pokemon Go logo over their face. And it's like all over the bar, Pokemon Go, and Homer Simpson's the only one without a logo over his face, and he's like looking around like. So that's how I feel, and that's how, like I said, a lot of my friends have posted that meme. This is me on Facebook now. That's how we feel, those of us that aren't involved in this. So yeah, and I love that it's getting kids out, getting them exercise. There's all sorts of discussion about how this is accidental exercise and it's tricking the millennial generation into exercising, which I'm all in favor of. But I don't know. I think it's one of those trends that's also seems very strange and like I don't know. I would love it if it weren't, personally, I would love it if it weren't Pokemon, if it were something else, and I think this paves the way for other such games to be played this way, maybe in the future, if it were like
an Alex Jones
yeah, if it were Alex Jones.
Alex Jones here is at this bar here. This bar, they're shipping in drugs illegally. They're using the bar as a front. They're doing this all with your tax dollars.
Exactly. If you could catch this the international spies, and you could catch the illegal drugs, if you could catch the
elitists for the New World Order.
Exactly. You could catch people with secret badges on, for the New World Order, then that'd be awesome. Or like who was it? There was someone on YouTube or on a telecast that was like, if this was about catching supermodels, I'd be in. So yeah, that type of thing. So I think it's an awesome format. I think this is definitely going to be the format of the future, where once again you're out in the real world and there are actual locations where certain things can be, and you have to physically go there in order to catch your things. I think we might see more of that in the future, but since it just happened to be Pokemon, now it's all about Pokemon Go. apparently there's all sorts of like other consequences of this. There's a woman who found a corpse like crawling over a fence and like whatever, because there might have been one of the rare characters in there, and in the real world, there might have been that character over the fence, but in the real world there was actually a corpse in that landing, and in that wooded clearing, and so she was, I forget how old she was. I think she was like 15 or 16, so that can be kind of traumatizing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's kind of like safety issues and that go into this, that I think you have to be aware of. The people that made this were responsible in terms of blocking off the streets. There's no incentive, no reason for your character or any Pokemon character to ever be in the street. So, that was something that's, I'm sure someone in the board meeting came up with, like, we cannot have kids, wandering into the streets aimlessly. So that they already took care of. But, if you go in places that normally you wouldn't, I mean, you have to be prepared. You might find something that you might not like a corpse. And I've also heard that just last night I was watching a video that was reporting that there's an incidence of people actually using this to rob people.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I guess you can't actually see where people are, but you can like have a sense of where people have been, and then you can't actually like see where Pikachu is or where other characters are, but you can send out a beacon. I still don't know the whole thing about this, but I guess you can send out a beacon that says, "Hey, there might be a valuable, Pikachu or whatever over here." And so anyway, there's been some instances apparently of very smart, I would say, robbers trying to send out a beacon for people that are playing to lure them into more secluded areas where they can rob them. So you got to be careful about shit like that. You know what I mean? It's a great game, and I think, and like I said, I'm completely mixed. I don't know if I would ever play it myself, but I can see the appeal of it. But you do have to be careful of stuff like that. Don't go there, especially if someone sends a beacon. These really clever robbers nowadays, might stick you up. So
yeah, and Pokemon. I mean, of course, it's good to see Pokemon back in the news, and of course, it's for a new generation.
For those of you that were fans before, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, for a new generation,
yes.
Like people like my niece who watches it, and then there's and plus Pokemon really it really did start that whole anime revolution. I mean, there was that, there was Dragon Ball Z,
yep.
Of course, Ronin Warriors, that was years before, and then later on came Full Metal
Alchemist, which I'm all for. I don't like almost any anime, but anything Full Metal Alchemist, I'm there.
It started that, and Naruto, and so it's good to see. It's good to see that. Well, and you said you're still torn on it, right?
Yeah, because like I said, I'm glad that the kids nowadays are exercising, and I'm glad that and I think it's a great format. Like I said before, I personally wish it wasn't actually Pokemon. It's the format of, and I think the cultural phenomenon is going to be annoying after a while. There's actually a meme I saw on Facebook as well that I think was fantastic, where there's a guy that's like, "Oh, it's a Charmander, or it's a I forget what it is." He was in the middle of saying one of the words, like, "Oh, it's a Charmander," but then like the whole which superhero is it? The one that just slaps people across the face?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's from that old, like, one of the old comic books of the superhero where he's slapping him across the face.
Oh, Batman? Batman slapping Robin? Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So the guy is Robin, and he's like, oh, look, there's a Charmin. And anyway, then Batman's there like, whoosh, you're 36 years old. Because that's apparently part of it, that that even older men are actually going for this in droves, apparently. So that's something that I think is really annoying, but at the same time, I think there's a lot worse things that guys our age could be into, this is how it ties into macho. Doesn't mean that is that I am glad that that guys our age can be, even if it's annoying to me, I'm glad anytime guys our age can be a little bit more, I don't want to say childish, can be a little bit more childlike. And
well, yeah, that's what the anime conventions are for, and also Comic-Con, because it's like, it's people they won't judge you there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, like, and even there's even some fans of, like, for example, like Star Wars, for example. My brother loves Star Wars, but he's not the type where, like, you'll see him in, like, a stormtrooper outfit, or he'll be quoting lines from Yoda or anything like that.
Right.
In fact, he thinks some of those people go a little too far. He's like, oh, okay, I like Star Wars too, but dude, get a life. But me, hey, I don't mind it. I mean, one of the times I ran into people at at one of the Comic-Con things over at the Prudential Center in Boston.
Right.
And there were times when I've interacted with them in costume and stuff. Like I saw this couple, they were dressed as the Joker and Harley Quinn, and I and I said a joke. I said, so tell me, is Batman invited to the wedding if you guys get married? And he went, oh yeah, Batman's he's the one who's gonna marry us.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, I think that the reason those things are so popular is that a lot of people, especially older people, and I think especially men, we've been taught to give up certain things when we're old, and aren't you too old for that? Well, there's things that we still want. There's things that we still want to express, and so, like I said, I think it's actually a good thing if we can allow ourselves to be childlike.
Well, yeah, I mean, because nowadays, it's like, comic books and anime. It's like it's mainstream now.
I mean, yeah, which it was not the case not that long ago. Like when original Pokemon came out, that was kind of not the case.
Well, yeah, it was everywhere. It was everywhere, and I was one of the fans. I maybe had only like maybe 2 or 3 cards, but it's good for people. For hardcore fans. I mean, and I think it kind of really, I think it started becoming mainstream when when the new Spider-Man movies and the new X-Men films were coming out, and then when Batman Begins came out, then it's like superheroes were in now. Superheroes are blockbusters, and there still are blockbusters.
There's still blockbusters, yes, exactly. And I think there's a big reason for that. People want to like go back to that, or go to a time when a different type of reality, when something is, when things are supernatural, super normal, you know what I mean? And then along with this, there's actually this is something I wondered if I would talk about on air for a while, is that there is or was these things called bronies. Have you ever heard of
bronies?
Bronies. Apparently a subgroup of men also our age, that you're not going to believe me, but it's true, that we're actually very into My Little Pony.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, yes. Oh yeah, I think I heard about this group. There were these. One of them was actually on Dr. Drew's the
show
On Call. Dr. Drew On Call show.
Yeah, exactly. So that was actually a pretty big cultural phenomenon not that long ago, like 4 years ago. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that was actually a pretty huge cultural phenomenon, and most people did not believe it, or they made fun of it. But I mean, I could not have been part of that. I don't, I can't. conceive of actually being part of it. But at the same time, do I respect their right to do it? Yes, of course. And do I think that it's actually a good thing that they can tap into their childlike nature? Yes, I do. And also, that also brings in kind of, that's even more than Pikachu. I was gonna say
Pokemon.
even more than Pokemon, and even more than like comic books. That brings in a kind of feminine aspect that kind of weirds a lot of people out. Well, oh well, like get over it. Like if they want to act that way, behave that way. That's I don't think it's our place to judge them. Again, I couldn't be part of it. And I don't know what exactly I would do if one of my friends was one of these guys. But the last thing I want to do is judge someone for being too childlike or too feminine, because I think there's a lot of that in our culture, and that's partly what's wrong with our culture. Let them be childlike, let them be feminine. Clearly they want to express that if they're part of this group.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, different strokes for different folks, and plus, if if you're not really sold on the Pokemon app, you can get the Alabama Man app.
Alabama Man?
Alabama Man! I thought I told you to shut up!
Yes.
Yep. Here's Alabama Man at the bowling alley. He's chewing tobacco, drinking beer, and busting his wife in the lip.
Right, there you go. But yeah, anyway, so I mean, this is clearly another part of culture, and that's why I decided, the last thing I wanted to do was like give it more legitimacy, especially earlier on. I feel like this still is early on, but when these things explode into our culture, there's a reason for it, and I think it indicates something about our culture, whether we like it or not. And yeah, this at least I might find it annoying, but I think it for now it's more positive than negative.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. And from there we go to Chew on This. And this is a big discussion. This is on the women's Bantamweight division in the UFC. I mean, right now that title is being bounced around like a game of hot potato.
Right.
I mean, so far
you mentioned this in the headlines. So
yeah, I mean, so far its longest reigning champion has been Ronda Rousey, and
right. Perhaps as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, but ever since Ronda lost, it's like, like it's just been bouncing around. First, it went to Holly Holmes. Right. She pulled off the upset. She shocked the world.
Right.
And then, in her first title defense, she's beating Miesha Tate. And then going into that fifth round, she gets caught in a rear naked choke. Doesn't tap out. She passed out. And loses the title. Then, this past weekend, UFC 200. Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes.
Right.
First title defense. Amanda Nunes not only breaks Miesha Tate's nose, but chokes her out. Rear naked choke. I mean, it almost makes you wonder, like, who can really be considered the real champion now? Because people say, like, you're not a real champion unless you defend your belt one time. Right,
exactly.
Successfully.
So the fact that neither of them have successfully defended their belt, well, that's, yeah.
But also there's that, to go to the pro wrestling route of it, you know what Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Right.
Or in this case, the woman.
Right.
I mean, Holly beat the woman, so she became the woman.
Right, exactly.
And then
she did beat the woman. So.
And then Miesha beat the woman that beat the woman.
Right.
And now Amanda Nunes beat the woman that beat the woman that beat the woman.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, pretty much... I don't know. I think there could be an argument to be made that that Holly actually is the only one of that so far who really I don't know, who really was the one who beat the woman. I think there's the argument to be made that maybe Holly so far is the only actual one, because she beat Ronda, who has beaten all the other women.
Yeah, Ronda beat Misha Tate twice too.
Right. Right. So the fact that she wasn't able to hold on to her, her belt more than, one defense, well, that's a whole thing. But I mean, I don't think that Tate or Nunes, are actually the women who beat the women yet. You know what I mean? I think since neither of them were able to hold on to their defense, Holly wasn't either, but she beat the woman that beat all the other women up until that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there is something really important about the fact that she beat Ronda specifically, and even though she wasn't able to hold on to the belt, I don't think that means that Tate actually got that honor, and I don't think that it means Nunes has actually gotten that honor yet. If Nunes can defend her title successfully, then she'll be the one, right? But right now,
well, yeah, I mean, granted, it keeps things in the division
it keeps people on your toes.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. It keeps it interesting because it's like. We're seeing some new fighters rise to the top, the elite of the elite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still some who have yet to win the title yet.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, I mean, this is going back to boxing in the 90s with the heavyweight division, because after Tyson got knocked out by James Buster Douglas, and then Evander Holyfield beat Douglas, and everyone was like, well, you're not the real champion because you didn't fight Tyson, you didn't beat Tyson.
Right.
And then Mike Tyson winds up in jail on a rape beef, and then while he's in jail, the belt goes from the heavyweight titles, WBC, WBA, and IBF. They go from Evander Holyfield to Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, George Foreman, Michael Moore. And it wasn't until Tyson got out of jail and then he beat Frank Bruno and Bruce Seldon for the WBC and WBA titles,
right.
And then Holyfield won the WBA title.
Okay. So you're saying that it was kind of the same type of deal while Tyson was in jail. It was kind of the same type of deal for the men as it is for the women now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, who's the
actual top dog?
Yeah, who actually is the top dog. I mean, that's still a thing that goes on in boxing, because in boxing, there's the WBC, World Boxing Council, WBA, World Boxing Association, IBF, the International Boxing Federation, and there's the WBO, the World Boxing Organization. It's like, unless one man is holding at least 3 of those belts, then there really is no way to find out who's the real champion.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's probably a point. And then, that is an interesting thing about Tyson that I guess I didn't quite know, is that whole thing where it was the belt was passed around while he was out, and then he came. You're saying he came back and reclaimed it, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if you're Ronda Rousey now, I guess you got to have some encouragement there. Like, if she can have the chance to come back, and if she does. Reclaim the belt, then I think a lot of people, a lot of the fans would actually see that as a lot more legitimate than either of the other 2 women that have the belt now or had the belt.
Yeah, exactly, because her legacy is really going to be on the line when she comes back. I mean, because she's coming off doing 2 movies and she just had knee surgery. She's going to be out till December. So. It's, her legacy is going to be on the line. Yeah. And, because trust me, if she loses, I mean, not only is her value in drawing pay-per-views and ratings going to go down, but, her chances to star in other movies and stuff are going to go down too.
We debated that in a previous show, whether or not she would actually be fully out in terms of her movie career, but there's an argument to be made that yes, she would. I think I argued against you on that, but yeah, I mean, that is really fascinating, and I think let's see, there was a commentator that I was watching. is about like international politics, but there's a commentator I was watching that was talking about, after Brexit, the vote for England to leave the EU. There's the Prime Minister stepping down because he didn't want to be part of that. He wanted to stay in the EU. So anyway, that in terms of who's favored to be Prime Minister from the people that pushed to leave, the hot potato has been being passed around there. They thought it would be the Mayor of London, who was the main proponent of leave, Boris Johnson, I think his name is, and anyway, he told people in a big press conference that no, I found out it can't be me, and people that were behind the whole cause were super upset with that, and anyway, then it was someone else, and then it was someone else, and anyway, so the same thing is happening. They're like, well, it can't be you, it can't be you, it can't be you. It's a power. I guess this stuff happens a lot in power vacuum. You know what I mean? So when the main person is now gone, and the biggest next great contender steps down. Well, who's actually next? Who's going to be it? And they compared it to the show Game of Thrones. That has told back and forth of who would be up next for the Iron Throne. So that's what's happening in international politics in London, and that's what's happening, for the women's title. And like I said, I think Ronda has a very big chance if she wins her fights, if she reclaims this, then she will be. I think she will be seen as much more legitimate than any of the other ones, except maybe Home, and her legacy as the greatest will completely continue.
Well, yeah, exactly, and of course everybody wants to see Ronda come back.
Yeah,
but well, here's my thing. Holly has a fight coming up on July the 23rd. That's on a Saturday on Fox. I say if Holly wins that fight, you got to make Holly Holmes versus Amanda Nunes at Madison Square Garden.
I see.
You got to make it at the Garden. I mean, there are two big strikers. Of course, Holly's a way better striker. She's on another level than Amanda Nunes. I mean, 19-time world boxing champion and an amateur kickboxer as well. I mean, she's a way better striker than Amanda Nunes. But on the ground, Amanda will probably own her, Holly. That is, if Holly has improved on her ground game.
Right.
But it's interesting, very interesting in the women's bantamweight division, and can't wait to see how it unfolds the rest of the year going into the new year.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, by the way,
is there any fight that you know of, like scheduled or talked about for Nunes yet?
Not yet. I mean, I guess Holly. I mean, whoever wins the fight between Holly and that Russian girl that she's fighting, I can't remember her name. I guess whoever wins that fight will definitely be the next one to get a title shot.
Okay. So yeah, then we'll have to see. And like I said, if Nunes can successfully defend her title, then she's actually the one. But I think for right now, she's the holder. She's the title holder, but she's not the title keeper. You know what I mean? I kind of get what you're saying. Also, talking about Miesha Tate, I mean, also I've had two sexy dreams about Miesha Tate here. Well, what happened was I had this one dream, but like I came into the apartment and I was looking for you. And I went and I see Miesha there. She's in these like green booty shorts, because if you ever see her in booty shorts, she looks fine as fuck. Yeah. And
she's there. And, I say, hey, is Gabe here? And she goes, oh, Gabe's not here right now. And she was making cupcakes, because her nickname is Cupcake. And she says, you want a cupcake? And I said, sure. And she had this chocolate frosting. And then she says, how would you like a taste? And I said, sure. And then she pulled down her booty shorts. Oh. She spread the chocolate all over her ass, and I am tossing that salad. I tossed the salad, licked all the chocolate sauce, and then, of course, got from behind, doggy styled.
This sounds like a porno. Your subconscious mind wrote a porno in your head.
Oh yeah, hey, that's because I like Misha Tate, saying I like Ronda too, but that was one sexy dream. I mean, another dream I had, it's kind of the same scenario. I'm looking for you, but this time,
why am I involved in this? This is strange.
I don't know, but she's
at least I wasn't actually there.
Yeah,
anyway, continue.
But she's in a dominatrix outfit, and I say, "Hey, is Gabe here?" And she goes, "Gabe's not here. Now get over here."
Oh.
And she says, she pulls up the chair. She goes, "Have a seat." And then she handcuffs my hands to the back of the chair.
Oh, Lordy.
And then, she pulls my pants down and everything. And she goes, "You're going to do whatever I say. You understand?" And I say, "Yes." And she says, "Yes, what?" "Yes." And I went, "Yes, Mistress Cupcake." And then, she gets on top of me, the reverse cowgirl. I mean, of course, this would be cowgirl, right?
Cowgirl.
I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, no. So cowgirl is if she's facing you, like that.
Yeah, she's facing me. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
so
she's
that's
facing
that's
me.
regular cowgirl. I think reverse cowgirl is if her ass is to you.
Yeah. Well, she's facing me cowgirl style.
Yeah.
And she is riding the shit out of me. Yeah, she is just fucking the shit out of me, man. Of course, I got another dream about Misha Tate, but I'll save that for another show.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, isn't that fascinating? Probably, I guess, two different aspects of what you want to do to her. Like in the other one, she was Miss Seductress, and she was submissive, I would say. And in this one, very much not.
Well, yeah, exactly. She is hot, man. And hey, can you imagine having her for a roommate? Of course, she's a fire. That means you really couldn't piss her off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be something. But yeah, I mean, if your dreams are any indication, I would hear the festivities, and God knows what that would be.
Well, we'd be like, of course she'd have her own room. We put a thing on the door. Plus, I can imagine
do not disturb sign.
Yeah, of course I can imagine at 2:00 in the morning just banging on the door, and be like, "Hey, I gotta work tomorrow. Keep it down in there."
Yep. I was about to say I've had that happen, but no comment.
Oh yeah, and but of course, like I said, anything can happen right now with the women's bantamweight division, and,
right?
And of course,
I mean that must be pretty fascinating too. I mean, has you know the stats and stuff. Like, when was the last time something like this happened?
Maybe like when the UFC light heavyweight division, back when Rampage, after he defeated Chuck Liddell, and then Liddell successfully defended against Dan Henderson, and then it went to Lyoto Machida. Then Machida and Shogun fought to, I think it was a draw, and then the belt.
How long ago was that?
That was like in 2009. I mean 2008 going into 2009. So,
well, still, I'm guessing that's still a long time in combat sports world. It's still like forever.
Yeah, it was a game of hot potato then, but who knows? Like, of course, Ronda's got to come back from the knee surgery and giving Travis some pity pussy, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Exactly.
And that's gonna do it for our show. You can look us up also on Facebook.com. No, I'm not doing a blog today, but you can. And also, please, if you haven't yet, please watch our Ringside with Matt and Gabe show. That's available right now on Bloody Knuckles TV on YouTube. So check out the show and comment, subscribe.
Yep. More to come next month.
Yep.
All right.
So,
Beantown to your town.
Beantown, Beatdown, Matthew Burris.
Gabe Chavez.
Vios con Dios.